huh. I mean, I can't go to church, and none of my friends can go to church, so we're kind of the non-church people, but you're like a rabbi. That's cool. But you don't understand, like, tax collectors and sinners aren't allowed. They don't let us in. They card us at the door. It's cool. We're not fit for church. That's cool. But they tell me I have to work on A, B, and C. That's cool. 9, 10b. Many. Circle that word in the Bible, many. Okay? Many means like a lot. Of tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. There were a lot. Mundo. Many. Mucho. Tax collectors and sinners. Now, ate with him and who? Ate with him and who? His disciples. Okay, what are the disciples right now? There's only 9 of them. How many are there eventually? That's good, 12. Okay. We're on it, baby. This is a Bible-centered church. We had this thing. I think there were 12. There were 12, right? And so there was only like 9 right now. Why? Because he hadn't started classes. He hadn't started training. He was just getting them together. But here's what he's teaching them something here, okay? He says, here's the first lesson. We're going to eat with pagans. Now, the idea is they didn't just eat one meal, because they probably ate many meals with these pagans. And here's what happens in verse 11. When the Pharisees saw this, because they wouldn't catch just one meal. What they're catching is Jesus in his hometown, eating with people who are not fit for church. They ask his disciples, why does your teacher eat with these outcasts? Like, we don't let them in church. They're tax collectors and they're sinners. The disciples didn't have a good answer. I don't know. I'm just starting this thing out. He just said, get in the car. I'm on a road trip. I don't know. I can't give you a good answer on that one. There's only 9 of us. There's 3 more. We're still shopping. I don't know. That's kind of cool, right? I mean, you know, it's this thing in process. But he's teaching them that God has this huge heart for people who are outside the religious norms. Not only a heart, but God actually can work best with non-religious people. That's weird. That is so weird. But this Rabbi Messiah wouldn't do that. I remember, I grew up in church, okay? So when I was first planting churches in California, we had this guy named Roy. And Roy was like, he was like, his liver was so gone. I mean, it was just, he was funky looking colors. He was just an alcoholic that was just gone, right? And he went to this place called the Golden Tea every day to get an IV, right? I mean, bourbon IV. And he said, you got to come and meet my friends. Well, I mean, Roy had experienced this change in his life, but he wanted me to come with all his friends, and so this was the worst dive. I mean, this was the place that smelled so bad. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there was not a ray of sunshine. You know what the kind of dive I'm talking about? In the worst part of town, right on Southern California, right on the beach, but it was just a dive. And I felt so creepy going in that place. And I just kept thinking, I don't belong here, this is weird. And then I realized, this is just like Jesus. This is kind of cool. Kind of creeped out by this. Hey, I didn't say, Roy, before you start sharing Christ with all your buddies, you got to sober up. He just accepted Christ, and like the next day he wanted his buddies to hear about Christ, okay? Like there was no, you got to do this and this and this and this. It's just, he goes, this is going to be the thing that changes me. I'm not changed yet, but I'm following this guy. Can you come and talk to my buddies? They're worse than I am. We're all dying of liver disease. Sure. It's weird. It feels so out of place. It's like, Pastor, don't go there. And yet it's so right. And so Jesus here in this situation, he's responding to people who feel so out of touch with the church. In verse 11, when the Pharisees saw this, they asked the disciples, why does your teacher eat with these tax collectors And these sinners, in verse 12, on hearing this, Jesus said, it's not the healthy who need the doctor, but the sick. He butted in and answered for the disciples because they didn't have an answer or a clue. And he says, hey, I'm here because healthy people don't need a doctor. You guys you're so healthy, you think. Hey, I mean, can a doctor interest a healthy person in an office visit? No. It's the reason you don't go to the dentist, isn't it? You don't go to the dentist and you go, ugh! I got this string here, Doc. I had a McCann roll in Georgia, you know, I don't know, wherever it is, I don't know. Right? I mean, we tend to go to the doctor when something's wrong. And so, let me ask you, how many of you has been longer than 6 months since you had a dental checkup? Raise your hand. Yeah? Oh, my point right there, right? We're all bad people. We're supposed to go every 6 months. My point is, it's not healthy people who go to the doctor. It's people who realize they have a need. And so Jesus says, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I have come because these people are going to pay attention to me and you're not. And here's this guy Matthew who had it all together. And here's what Jesus says in verse 13. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. What does Jesus just say there? He says, what I'm looking for is people who get a heart that cares for people, who doesn't cut people off at the knees because they're not religious enough, because they don't fit in. He says, I'm looking for mercy, not for people who go through robotic rituals and sacrifice. Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. The people who get it, people who understand. The reason some of you guys have been away from church for so long, but you're just coming back, is because you felt like you never measured up. Because you felt like it wasn't for you. You felt like you didn't fit in or belong. It's been a couple years ago now, but there's this young woman, beautiful young woman came, and she said, I really love this church. I love this church. I really want to I'm ready to take the next step. And then you started talking, I said, well, what do you do? What's your profession? She said, I really want to get connected to this church. I really want. I said, I'm just curious, where do you work? I mean, she said, well, I'm an entertainer. I said, that's cool, like Carolina Opry, or Legends, or, Alabama Theater, where? I dance. Cool. I mean, like, do you do like, no, I'm like an exotic dancer. Like, how exotic? Like Fiji? Where? Oh. Yeah, I got you, okay, enough. And she said, I got people coming who are like friends, and I just want to know, is it okay if I like stand in the lobby and greet them, and like when they come in to make them feel at home? I said, I just want you to make yeah, of course you can. And then she called me back later that week. She said, but what if some of my clients come and recognize me? I said, I guess they don't have any right to judge you, do they? Guess not. She said, I never thought about that. And so I said, here's the deal. Look, just start following Christ. Just right where you're at. Just start following. Because the reality is a person who's just taking that first step, they can't comprehend how it looks to give everything up and live an alternate lifestyle from what they're living. But she started going to Celebrate Recovery. I mean, she said, this is really cool. I mean, I can't believe this church accepts me. I said, just make all the people that you know feel at home. And I started thinking, I wish I hadn't said that one, I hope there's no holes, no line. I just started thinking, what have I done? But I thought, okay, just not, what I mean was just, your friends that you're invited, just love them. Just let them know that you care about them, that this is a safe place for them to be here. I was just out of my league. I just didn't know quite what to say. But she started coming. She got connected. She went to Celebrate Recovery. It was great. She moved back to North Carolina. Said to her mom, I want to get my stuff straight. I need a place to get straight. She and her child moved back. It was amazing. She didn't stay here long, but she found Christ and she began to follow. She began to follow. There's something about just taking that first step